Good morning, everybody, and I'm actually saying good morning because I'm recording this at 7:35 a.m. I just wanted to show you a quick thing that I more or less bumped into a couple of years ago while I was working on a project, and it's let's say a small hack or a small yeah, it's not actually a hack because we're actually using the language's native capabilities, but it's a way for you to get the class of something. So if you take a look at this code over here, I have this small arrow function that takes an input and then calls the toString method that's residing on object.prototype on that input, and then does some replacing, and then lowercase is the whole thing. So what this basically does, and I'm going to demo this for you. I already ran a test here, not to make a fool of myself. Let's just copy and paste this part of the code, and then let's just place it here, and let's pass a number to it. So it gives us object number, right? By default, if we execute toString without calling it on anything, it will give us object. But if we're calling it with a number, we're basically saying, hey, take object.prototype.toString and call it as the method of this number. So if we were to pass undefined here, we would get object undefined. So this is a very neat way to get the class of some input, of something, some JavaScript, whatever is stored at a JavaScript variable. And what the code after the call to object.prototype.toString happens, what this part does is it basically takes out the square bracket, the open square bracket, and the object keyword and the space after it. So this part over here, it takes it out and it replaces it with nothing. And then it also takes the closing square bracket and it replaces it with nothing. And just for the sake of good looks, we are lowercasing the output. So the output of a call to this true type of function, which is basically not a type of, but more or less get underlying class. I think get underlying class would have been a better name, but disregarding that, the output of this true type of function is more or less similar to the type of operator. It's just that it's better. So if we were to actually have this as a function, so it's true type of, and we just pass an object, we would get object. If we would pass an empty array or an array with elements, right, 1, 2, 3, we would get array. And similarly, we could pass in a regular expression. So I think I need to actually pass something here. So let's say it starts with A, and it ends with B, right? And if I could write regular expressions, then I would be a better JavaScript developer. So we get regex. What else? Let's see. New date. We get a date. Now, the thing is that it could be confusing to developers if they bump into this in the code, but if you document it properly, then you could go ahead and use this instead of using the regular typeof, and you would be, let's say, a bit more certain that whatever your input is, you would know what the type of that input would be. So I'm using it, where am I using it? I think I am using it in CSV. So I recently published an article about how to create a CSV in a couple of lines of code, and this is basically the function itself, and I am using it in the error messages, so I can actually give the user let's say if someone would be using this create CSV function, I would be able to provide them with meaningful error messages. Like for example, this would print expected an array of table headers, but got, I don't know, whatever the type of the input was. So if we were to const CSV is require, let's require this. I hope, yeah, I'm here, right? That's my son cheering over there. So if I go CSV and then I pass in a string, for example, instead of the headers, is expected an array of table headers but got string. Or if I pass, I don't know, a new date, same thing but got date. It's more meaningful than got object or got whatever. I could have said also, I could have passed in the actual value, but I think it's easier and simpler this way. So I hope this is helpful to you. If you want to check out more about what object.prototype.toString does, head over to the Mozilla Developer Network. They have amazing resources over there. And while actually, let's say, researching for this video and trying not to make a fool of myself, while I was scrolling to the bottom, I see that this is actually included in the Mozilla Developer Network documentation over here at the bottom, except that they don't, let's say, they don't prettify the output. So they're actually leaving it at the toString.call thing, and they're not making the output look a bit cleaner. So, as I said, I hope this is useful. Head over to Mozilla Developer Network if you want to learn more, and catch you in the next one.